When World of Warcraft hit shelves in 2004, players were stunned by Blizzard's revolutionary game design, being the first game to make you pay for having a second job. But it's not 2004 anymore, and a lot of other games have caught up. So what makes World of Warcraft special? I don't know. And neither does Blizzard. That's why they keep releasing different versions of it every month, till the Battle.net client looks like an Excel spreadsheet. When I was a kid, World of Warcraft was in its Cataclysm expansion, but I had what were called good parents, so they didn't let me spend $15 a month on a game. So instead I just kept creating new accounts and questing to the level 20 cap for all different races, which I gotta admit was quite fun. But I was a stupid toddler, stacking races would be fun to me back then too. Unfortunately, I'm an adult now, and I can afford to waste my money and be as much of a disappointment as I see fit. I'm going to be trying two versions of WoW, Cataclysm, the version I played back in the day, and Classic, the version I wasn't even alive for when it came out. First choice you have to make is what racing class you're going to play. I choose Dark Elf because this is an inclusive channel and we value equal representation, even for the lesser races. Now for class. Let's see, I could pick Rogue and ambush unexpected players in the open world. No, that seems fun, and there's no place for that in any good MMO. Could pick Mage, but sorcery and engaging in witchcraft is a mortal sin, and for filthy pagans. Instead, I'm going to be a Mormon priest and bring the good word of Joseph Smith to the world of Azeroth. Dark Elves are once a proud and immortal race, who lived in isolation around the World Tree and the Will of Eternity. But for centuries of misuse of arcane power, in un-Mormon rituals, the World Tree and their immortality with it were vanished. And instead of looking to the Book of Mormon for salvation and eternal life, they decided to replant a tree. And it didn't work. Okay, maybe I chose the wrong race. I'm skipping the starting zone. Our first task is to extract some sex from a spider, in case the World Tree corrupted its hormonal glands or something, I don't know. Either way, I use my holy powers to cleanse the spiders of their erectile dysfunction and turn in the quest, which surprisingly grants us nothing that is useful for a priest. For a region that's entirely built around the arcane, the kingdom is surprisingly priestophobic. I'm not a big fan of the Dark Elf starting area. The entire region is entirely the same, it's just a big forest. And most of the quests here are just gather quests, and I literally spent hours trying to get a few quest items for this one single quest, and other players were swarming the area too and stealing my kills, and it was just infuriating. Let's just move on to Darkshore. Even though I'm one of the best WoW players out there, I would say top 10 that have ever lived, it's still really easy to die in Classic WoW, especially as a priest. When you pull more than one mob, you're practically dead because I have no AoE damage spells. I found someone that was doing the same quest as me, and out of the kindness of my heart, I decided to invite them to my party. To help them out, of course. It's not that I needed their help or anything. Priest is a support class after all, and what good is a support class if I don't help out other players? So I just stayed back and healed him while he did all the work. People love the social aspect of WoW. After all these decades, our lives have become busier, the game has become faster paced and more goal-oriented, and there's less and less time to just sit down and quest together with somebody, to go to dungeons together. People choose the classic version of this game for this exact reason, over the more feature-rich retail version, for just the social aspect. However, I despise it. I don't want any multiplayer in my massively multiplayer game. That's why I chose to go over to Cataclysm. Big-ass dragons, dungeons so easy you can solo them. And most importantly of them all, microtransactions. Cata is the version of the game most players say it started going downhill, and they are completely right. And it is also the version of the game that I have enjoyed the most. Let me explain. Questing is my favorite part of any MMORPG, and the questing in WoW Classic and the first 3 expansions is lackluster. Most of the objectives are pretty much the same, whether it being gather quests, kill quests, or just delivery quests. Cataclysm, however, revamps all world quests from the previous expansions, making them more narrative-driven and more interactive. It still doesn't hold any candle to other MMORPG quests such as Elder Scrolls Online or Final Fantasy XIV, but it's still a massive improvement. For example, in Westfall, you get a new questline that follows an Alliance investigator through the murder of one of the families that you have met in Westfall before in the classic version. You get espionage quests, you get in-game cutscenes, and you follow the quest line with actual interest, unlike other zone quests. But then the quest line abruptly stops and tells you to go to the Dead Mines, the first dungeon in the game. Dead Mines in WoW Classic was an extremely hard but well-made dungeon. You had to organize a party group yourself, you had to get all of the members to the Dead Mines manually. There's no teleport button, nothing. In Cataclysm, dungeons, especially lower level dungeons, are so easy that you don't need 5 players, you don't need 3 players, you don't even need 2 players. You can solo them entirely on your own. And that's what I did. Not over leveled, not anything. I soloed the entire dungeon at the appropriate level on my own. A dungeon that I had wiped multiple times in WoW Classic. But what is the story behind the Dead Mines, you ask? Well, good question. You see, in Warcraft 1, there was this thing called the Burning Legion. Why are they burning, you ask? Because they didn't remember to use protection. The Legion went to the home planet of the Orcs, called Draenor, and made them drink demon blood. Personally, if someone asked me to drink their blood, I would ask if they are HIV positive first. But since we already established that the Legion doesn't care much for STIs, the Orcs get infected with AIDS and turn green. Then the world of Azeroth is invaded by a bunch of HIV positive green Orcs. Humans lose ground and the city of Stormwind is destroyed. However, the humans manage to pick up the pace and beat back the Orcs, blah blah blah. The city of Stormwind has to get rebuilt, and they commission the Defias brothers to rebuild the city. Okay, so I built the city that you wanted. Can I get my pay now? I have no idea what you're talking about. What am I gonna pay my masons? You know what? Screw this, I'm making my own batting cap. And that's how the Defias Brotherhood was created. Now they're sitting in the Dead Mines plotting their revenge on Stormwind. Until we stop them, of course. And in we, I mean me. I don't know if I missed anything or not, but I was already such a high level after soloing the dungeon that I couldn't continue any Westfall quests without them being grayed out. So I moved on to the next region, which is Duskwood. And Duskwood was a very good region. Duskwood's capital is Darkshire, the only town in Azeroth where the living population is smaller than the graveyard. You are immediately recruited into the Night Watch, which might sound cool if you have watched Game of Thrones, but once you realize that you're not dealing with White Walkers but Worgen, it becomes a lot less cooler. Commander Althea tells us that the dead are rising and that she needs our help, which is NPC code for go kill 30 skeletons and return with their bones for science. On our way there, we meet a guy who is looking for his long-lost brother. We ask around in the city council, and the guy there says that they used to have information on him in the archives, but it got destroyed and scattered around Duskwood in a recent Worgen attack. No biggie, I'll just piece them all together and let's see what's written here. Oh. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you gotta go, buddy.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Then you meet Abercrombie, a man who is definitely not a necromancer, and totally not suspicious and definitely not a necromancer, and absolutely not going to betray you and unleash a 12-foot meat giant golem called Stitches on the town. Spoiler, he was a necromancer, he was indeed suspicious, and yes, Stitches flattens half the town like an angry Roomba made of flesh. If you watched till this long, well, congratulations. I initially planned on making the video a lot longer, but it's already taken a lot of time and nobody's gonna watch this long anyway. There's a lot of other memorable quests in Duskwood, and I mostly forgot them all because I recorded the footage a long time before I started editing it. So I don't know if I'm gonna make any videos after this, but if I do, maybe I'll cover it in the next one.